Reynolds with us today, and Sam is a former Pueblo student, which is really cool, and he also is an author. So he has come to talk to us a little bit about how he gets his ideas, how he goes about writing, and maybe it will help trigger some questions that you might have. If any of you have thought about writing, either a short story or a book, he might be able to give you some tips. And so I'm going to let Sam talk, and I hope you'll give him your undivided attention. Thank you.
Hello, everybody. Like Kathy said, I am Sam Reynolds, and I'm here to talk to you about what I do. If you guys have any questions, we'll have a time at the end for them to be answered. Are you working? There we go. Oh, I skipped. There we go. So, I'm going to go back. I have to explain from the beginning. That's wrong. There we go. So, I am 17 years old. I went to Pueblo 6 years ago when I was 11. During the 2010-2011 school year, I was on the original Spirit Dogs team, as you can see by my very old and doesn't fit anymore shirt. I had Miss Simunek as my English teacher. I know she still teaches here. She's amazing. Miss Pate was my science teacher. She retired the year after I left. Mrs. Lagerquist, she taught my social studies. She's still here. And Miss Alva was my math teacher. She is now in Oregon. So I now go to a school called Heritage Academy in Mesa. It's a charter school. It's right in downtown. I went there since 7th grade. Really good school, really good teachers. They don't have school on Fridays. It's really cool. I'm a junior there right now, and I'll be graduating next year in 2017. Crazy. So how the books began. It was the summer before my 6th grade year. And it's one of those days where you're at your friend's house, you're in the pool, you're eating barbecue chips, and all of a sudden you think to yourself, I'm going to write a book. And that's basically how it happened. Ever since I was a little tyke, when I was in 2nd grade, I used to be obsessed with dinosaurs. Dinosaurs were all I would think about. I loved the Jurassic Park movies. They were my most favorite thing in the world. And I decided to use that idea of kind of bringing dinosaurs back to life, kind of in a different way, to make my books the way that they are. And I think I've done a very good job of that. My beginning writing process. Writing 2 books at the same time and how that doesn't always work. Correction, it never works. I originally had 4 books planned for the series. There, you see the 2 right there on the table. I started writing the 1st book, and then I'm like, I should write the 3rd book at the same time, because why not write 2 books at the same time? You get the series done twice as fast, right? No. It is terrible. I worked on the 3rd one a lot more than the 1st one. And you have to balance, continuity, which character dies, which one lives, and other events that would affect one book but not the other one. It's just too hard to do. It's a mess. So I mainly scrapped most of the books that I had written, which was really sad. However, Pueblo used to have a thing called Pueblo Publishing, where they would encourage students to do creative writing, write short stories, write books, do whatever they wanted to do. And they would give you this cute little binder with really nice, soft, nice paper. And I still have kept this over the years because it's special to me, and the paper is really nice, so I threw it away. Oop, I'm going to drop it again. I did that one of the other classes, not doing it again. Okay. Now my concept over actual writing philosophy is a terrible philosophy at that. Basically what it means is I was so much worried, I was worried, I can speak English. I was so worried about how the characters looked that I focused on that more instead of what they would actually do in the story. So I'll invite you guys to come in at the end to look at some of the art that I have on the table. If I could give you one of the first tips is to, if you want to draw the characters, fine, just go and do it. But don't let that be your main focus. You can have however you want the characters to look in your head. But when it comes to writing, you actually have to do the writing, otherwise the book doesn't get done. So I would say write first, concept later. Publishing. Some of you may know Lizzie Stewart or her brother Eli. Eli still goes here. Lizzie went here the year after I did. Now she goes to Corona. She introduced me to this contest called Nanowrimo, which is National Novel Writing Month. They have it every November, and they encourage young writers. I did the Young Writers program. They encouraged people to write books in 30 days with at least 30,000 words. So at least 1,000 words a day. That sounds like a lot. I know it sounds like a whole lot. But if you set a word goal that's above 30,000 or right at 30,000, and you beat it, you win the contest, and you can publish with Amazon's company called CreateSpace. So I use that opportunity to, well, if I'm ever going to get the book done, now is the time, right? And I used that opportunity. I won the contest, and I set up my account with CreateSpace. How it works is they give you a code when you win the contest, and they use that code to set up your account. And once you set up the account, you can set up how your book wants to look. You can design the cover with their cover software. You can upload the interior file that actually has the book in it. And then once you submit it to the company for approval, they get back to you within 24 hours or so. And within the next few days, it's on Amazon.com, which is really, really fascinating. So my completed projects. I'm going to sit you down. I'm going to talk about the books I have on the table and some other special things. So you might be wondering, why is there 3 of one book and only 1 of the other one? I will tell you why. This is the first edition of Dino Hunters Part... Actually, these are mixed up. These are mixed up. Wait, hold on. Totally unprofessional. Okay, this is the right way up. Okay. I can do. So, okay, this is the first version of Dino Hunters Part 1. It kind of has a different title than the other ones. I don't know really why I chose this title in the first place, but I published this one on December 11th of 2014, and I was so focused on getting the book done that I neglected to go back and say, oh, this thing has a lot of errors in it, and it sounds terrible. So I didn't want that to be the only version, so I made a second version. This is the second edition with a different title that I think looks much better. And then I went back and fixed some of the errors, and I said, oh, this thing still has a ton more errors. So I took a black pen, and I just went to town on this thing like your English teachers do on their papers. And after about 9 days of work and editing and putting it in the computer, getting it reapproved, I came to this third and final version, which is now available on Amazon for purchase. It's got little to no mistakes at all, and it sounds much better than the original did, and I'm very glad that I took the time to actually edit it, even though I had already published the thing. Now, if you've been following the story so far, I started writing in the summer of 2010. I didn't publish my first book until December of 2014. So 4.5 years later, I got my first book done. This second book, Dino Hunters Part 2 Armageddon, took me 4 months. So, not taking years to write books anymore, I did this one in 4 months. It's about double the size of the first book, and it's much darker, and I like it a lot more because I knew how to write better, and thus this book was born. And I really liked how these books both coincide with each other. Now I'm going to read you guys both the the back summary of both the books, so you can guys kind of know what it's about. And then I'm going to give you guys a special treat. So this is for part 1. Harrison Lumina was just an ordinary teenager living in Minneapolis, Minnesota. He and his 7 friends would soon experience the greatest tragedy of their time, because they would be the ones to save mankind from total annihilation. What seemed as a night at the prom turned to a gory disaster, and what seemed as normal was all thrown away. The city was destroyed, and a man was claimed responsible. He did what no one thought was possible. He bred species that were lost to the ravages of time. He reanimated prehistoric dinosaurs for one purpose: to wreak havoc. Will Harrison and his friends be able to stop them in time? Will the villain be brought to justice, or bring the planet down on its knees? Will the government try to sabotage the mission rather than aid our heroes? Will the group known as the Hunters complete the task ahead, or come short and seal humankind's extinction? Discover in this thrilling novel full of intense action, romance, mysteries around every corner, and a story that will keep you on the edge of your seat begging for more. The truth, the real story, is unveiled in the beginning of this deadly journey, Dino Hunters Part 1. Or Part 1. Not Uno. And then on to Part 2. Left in the ruins with the member dead and the ships obliterated, the Hunters' only objective left is to survive. The island of Toronto is a place of many secrets, and the group discovers these secrets as they try to uncover the mysteries of the island. Oliver Denson still poses a grave threat to society and the world, greater than ever before. Will they be able to cage the dinosaur threat in time, or will they be forced to take extreme measures and change their objective entirely in order to save the world? Harrison and those who remain will be put to the ultimate test that will either unite them together or sever them permanently. Dive into the highly anticipated sequel to Dino Hunters Part 1, and follow the Hunters through the next phase of their perilous, life-threatening journey in Dino Hunters Part 2 Armageddon. Now, I have a very special treat for you all. 1, 2, 3, boom. Okay. Coming this spring will be my 3rd novel called Deadlock. It's not called Dino Hunters Part 3, for various reasons, which I will not disclose because that would be spoilers and I would ruin it for you and hate me. So one of my original plans was to get this book done before March of this year. I was planning to get it done last December to honor the 1-year anniversary of the first book being published. But sadly, my life got in the way, aka chemistry, and that didn't happen. So what I've decided to do is crack down and get this book done, hopefully by around spring break time-ish. And when I get it done, I will definitely email Kathy, and she will get it in this library, and I'll come and talk to you guys about it. It's going to be great. This is going to be the cover that I've chosen for the book. It's got the 5 birds on a fence. It's symbolic. There'll be a lot of death. Though I'm not going to drop you either. That's the summary. Although the hunters managed to escape the clutches of Oliver Jensen on Toronto, he still remains a great threat. Thought to be dead, there was nothing left to stop him from unleashing the final phase of his ultimate plan, making humanity pay the price. Finding themselves on the run, will the team be able to end Jensen's plans before they come to fruition? Or, when faced with a bounty on their heads, will Harrison's actions risk the future of humanity? Just over a year after the first in the series was released, the next chapter of the long-lost secret series has arrived. Join Harrison and his team as they once again have to fight their way to survive through this epic yet grim journey. Prepare, as all hope seems lost and all hell breaks loose in Denmark. Now, my plans for the future as an author, as I told you guys in the beginning, there's going to be 4 books in the series in total. I have 2 done, so I have 2 left. Deadlock will be this spring, or whenever I get it done, which will be soon. I'm not giving up on it. And then my 4th book, Annihilation, will be later in 2016. Whether that be August or December will be the deciding factor. I plan to visit some more schools. I've been talking to groups of 8th graders today. They've been really enjoying it. I came and saw 6th and 7th graders 2 weeks ago, and they were just thrilled beyond belief. They loved it. I went to Paloma across the street last year in January to talk to some 5th graders about it, and then those 5th graders came to here for 6th grade, and then they saw me again. So was like, hey, we remember you. So it was quite interesting. And one of the things that I hope to do is to use my talents as a creative writer, as an author, to show the world what I'm capable of doing and how far I'm willing to go to make it as perfect as it can be. And I do that through my storytelling, my dialogue, and my characters. So we're going to have some time for a Q&A session. If you guys have any questions, ask away and I'll answer them, and then we're going to do some other fun things after that. Tell me your name.
Demetrius.
Demetrius?
Do you find yourself, being, is there anybody in the story that you can relate to?
I think so, because the main character is based off of me, so I think I can relate to him pretty well. What's your name again?
Hey,
Kate.
what do you do to help cure writer's block?
To cure writer's block, what do I do? Number 1 solution is Netflix. Number 2 solution, I'll either just put in my headphones and listen to some music, or I don't go run. I hate exercise. I'll just go do something else that doesn't relate to the books at all, and then something will pop into my head out of nowhere, and I'll be like, that's a really good idea. I should write that down. I've had so many times where there's a crucial part in the book that I need to write, but I don't know how to write it, and then something totally messed up will come into my head when I'm doing something like, I don't know, taking out the trash, and then I'm like, so that's how I'm going to kill that character. Thanks, brain. Tell me your name.
Brenda.
Brenda.
So I've been writing this 2 fanfictions, and I'm working on them both. And I have all these plans for them, but I don't know how to write them down.
Mm-hmm.
So do you have any suggestions?
Well, I'd say just keep kind of thinking about those ideas and kind of write down what you can write down, I guess is what I'm trying to say, is if you know a little bit, just start with that, and then as you kind of develop, go to every possibility. That's really redundant. If you go to every situation that could happen to said characters or whatever, as long as you write it down and just kind of branch it off, kind of like a tree, like a diagram, do whatever you have to do to write it down, but don't let those ideas just die, because some of those can be really awesome and make your story that much better. Oh, you in the back?
After all the books are out, which do you think is going to be your favorite?
Well, out of the 2 that I have out right now, number 2 is my favorite because it's darker I can kill more people the way that I want to. I know, I'm a very bad person. And it's just a much better book than the first one, in my opinion. I don't know how much I'm going to like Deadlock. I already like it for what it is right now because I originally had a spin-off idea planned with dragons instead of dinosaurs. And I know, I see your eyes light up there. And what I've decided to do, instead of making that a separate book, for Deadlock, half of the story is going to be about dragons in another dimension. The main villain's going to send a team of people to kill the dragons because the dragons help the good guys. And if the dragons are all dead, then the good guys lose. And then the other half of the story is going to be the main characters, the good guys, are going to be on the run from the government because now they're considered terrorists because they didn't follow what the government told them, even though they did exactly what the government told them. They're being framed. And kind of like a side-by-side exchange. So that'll probably be interesting. I think I'm going to like the fourth book the best because it'll be the end. And I have this big old plan to kind of end the series with a wedding. I know it kind of sounds weird, right? But it's going to be good. Right?
So which book do you think would have the most deaths?
Definitely Deadlock. I'm planning, I think, if my numbers are right, I'm killing 11 people.
Wow.
Wow.
I know it's awesome.
There's more people on there.
Tell me your name.
Sam.
Hey.
You always, are you going to, do you think you'll write books as a profession or have it as a side job?
Right now, I think I'm considering it as a side job. If it goes somewhere, maybe that will be my full-time career. I'm looking to kind of be like an electrical engineer or something and that in college, but it all depends where all of this goes. Are you guys, do you guys have to go now?
No.
No, that's not it.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, that's not you? Okay. I was like, Belle, no.
Wait, I forgot.
Do you guys want me to talk about the wedding?
Yes.
You're very interested. So basically, this character up here, I'll show you the picture. This is the most recent concept of her. Her name's Christina. She's British, and she's a goth girl, and she's awesome. I love drawing her. She's my absolute favorite. My friend actually created her character, and I just kind of used that creation to base off on mine. Basically, it's her wedding, and everyone's like, "Whoa, she's getting married! Like this character could never get married." And at this time, the main character and his girlfriend have gotten married. A couple of people have gotten married, and it's romantic. Basically, they've had some kids, and after Christina gets married, everyone's like, "Well, what do we do now?" I mean, like, you just got married. We kind of like solved all the world's problems, right? And what Harrison decides to do is he takes all the kids that have been born, and like they're kind of like 8 or something at the time. I don't know. I have to decide the time. He takes all the kids and he kind of sits them all in a circle. And he's like, "All right, kids, we have a story to tell you." And he tells the entire story of the entire series from the very beginning. So the story just keeps going over and over, and it never stops. So it kind of is like back to the very beginning. It's like, oh, now it's time for a new person to hear the story. Okay.
First of all, that's a neat little way to wrap up the story. And second, like, who is like your most inspiring author?
Well, 6 years ago, Harry Potter, that was the big thing, right? Like the movies were all out, and like everything was just Voldemort dies, and it's great. Spoilers, I know. I shame on me for not reading all the Harry Potter books. I know I'm a terrible person.
What?
I read 1, 2, 3, 4, and 7. I didn't care. 5 is too long. I didn't care about 6. I'm sorry.
Oh my God.
You can kill me after we're done. And I look at J.K. Rowling. I'm like, wow, she's such an incredible author who's made this world of magic and these characters that are so dynamic and have such depth to them. I can do that too. And I wanted to make my books kind of their own little world that no one had ever heard of or seen before, and that would be interesting to people.
You shall never know a Korean show's relationship.
Okay. Since you read the 7th book in Harry Potter, how did you feel when, I can't remember which one of the twins, it was either Fred or George, and then George, how did you feel when George died?
I was very sad. So I remember the movie, he's like, oh, no, Weasley! When Bellatrix died, I was really happy. Because she was going to kill Ginny. You can't kill Ginny.
Yes, you can.
No, you can't.
Yes, you can.
You just can't.
That deserves that, in my opinion.
I don't know what we're talking about.
For those of you who don't know Harry Potter,
She will die.
just it's okay.
She will die.
Just sit
I
there
will kill
awkwardly.
her.
Any other questions for me for this time?
Alright, so, like, the name of it, like, where are you getting these names, like, where are you getting the names? I know the Dino Hunter, like, you know, those, but like, Deadlock.
Deadlock and Annihilation. Basically, Deadlock. Deadlock, you know, Deadlock means like you're kind of like at a stalemate, like you're kind of stuck. And when I was writing Deadlock, I got in a deadlock because I was stuck writing and I didn't write. I'm like, hey, this book's in a deadlock. It fulfilled its name. But it's mainly more Deadlock because the characters, they go through so much in this book that they never have before. That at the very, very end, it's probably one of the most messed up things that could have happened. I guess I'm going to tell you anyway.
No, don't.
Okay,
Yes,
I won't tell you.
Yes.
There's going to be a lot of death in the last chapter. Like right in the last few pages, and one of them is going to be one of the main characters, and this will be really sad. But like they have to go through so much of like losing people, and they've basically come to a point where they're just broken, and they have nowhere else to turn. Like they've messed up and they've made mistakes, and now basically the world's going to have to pay for it in the last book. Because now, third book is dealing with kind of like a mind control serum that controls a lot of humanity and they have to stop it. But the fourth book is basically going to be dealing with, now they've made so many mistakes that it could destroy the entire world.
First of all, that represents like every plot twist in Percy Jackson. And second of all, are any of the main characters besides yourself inspired by other people?
Yes, they are. All of the main characters, including Christina, I actually found out 2 weeks ago when I was talking to my friend that I had based her off her, like, accidentally. I'm like, oh, so there was a person behind all this the whole time. Every character that I have, except for like the main villain, because I just kind of made him. Every character is based off of somebody in my friend group that I had in 6th grade. And when they found out that this was a real thing, they freaked out. They were so happy that this was like real. And like whenever I kill one of them, like, oh, okay, I guess it's your story then. You can kill me. I'm like, oh, you're still alive. You don't have to worry about it. But I always try to make a character like even one of my coworkers. He asked if he could be in it. I'm like, yeah, sure. So I put him in like one page of Deadlock to be like this one nice, cool black dude that's really funny. And it's like,
So, where can you buy your books?
what?
Where can you buy the books for?
Sci-fi. Mainly sci-fi. I don't think I'm going to write any more books after this. I might write a book about me in high school and how I learned lessons of life and how it's going to help my children. I don't know what I'm going to do. After that, I always try to think of, oh, I can write like another book. It's like, no, you write this story first. You don't stop writing until you finish writing this story. And that's what my brain tells me like every single day. It's like, you write this story first. I'm like, okay.
Alright, so, are those books right there going to be in this library?
Good segue. I was about to talk about that. Thanks to the wonderful Kathy. She took the liberty of getting books for this library.
Yay!
These 4 have already been signed for the other classes. I have 2 more. Tuesday is when you can start checking these books out. You can start checking them out on Tuesday. I also have little slips of paper up here. If you guys want to just buy them on Amazon like tonight when you go home.
Yes, I did.
So I signed 2 of each book. Which copy do you guys want me to sign? The second or first one?
First one.
First one?
Both.
I'll sign the last book for another class.
I have the first book signed by author and then the second book signed by author.
Nice. What do you guys want me to sign it? I can write whatever you guys want. Sup, bruh. Sup, bruh. Sup, bruh. This book is lit.
Yo.
This book is lit. Oh yes. Signed by me. Alright. Trying to think what else there is to do. My last slide. So before you guys leave, if you guys have any more questions, you guys can ask me. I have the books up here on the table if you want to come up and look. I also have concept art you guys can look at. Hey, I remember you. And Anything else? Any other questions you guys have? No? Okay. Or you too?
Well, the thing is, are you planning on doing like creative writing for college because you already have your books, or?
Probably, depending on what major I go into. I'll try to take some creative writing classes so I kind of don't like lose my luster. But who knows? It all depends on where this goes. What's your name?
Chris.
Chris.
And like you said that this was inspired by Jurassic Park. In Jurassic Park, they brought them back to life with a mosquito with dinosaur DNA. How did this one person create dinosaurs in your book?
Well, I didn't rip off the whole mosquito thing. Actually, I have to remember this now. You're making me read. I hate you. I'm just kidding. I didn't bring them back to life in the same way. It's still brought back with genetics, kind of similar to how they did it in Jurassic World. Because basically in the beginning, like where did dinosaurs and dragons come from? Like the beginning of the first book, it starts with this great war between dinosaurs and dragons. Who's going to win? Dragons win, dinosaurs lose. The dragons are then sent to this dimension where then this other group comes in deadlock to go kill them all. But many years later, this artifact from the Great War falls into the main character's hands from his dying grandfather, and basically it starts acting weird, and then it starts like giving this prophecy of him kind of being the chosen one, like him like going to be the one with this group to save the world. And this other descendant for many years later is the main villain, and he's a direct descendant of the main bad dude who led all the dinosaurs. So he's had this kind of like hatred over all these years against this other family that had killed all of his ancestors. So then he's trying to do the same and kill this person's grandson for ruining his whole life, and he's doing that in whatever way he can. Demetrius?
Is the main villain a grown man killing a teenage boy?
Yeah. He's a grown man.
Okay. All right.
Tell me your name.
Did you come up with the titles first?
I think I did the titles first. Brandon.
Okay. So, can you read us like a section from your book?
Like a page?
Yeah.
I can either read the first or last page of either book.
First.
First.
Last.
First.
First.
First.